safe as Cinder's prayer. Safe.
2 security guards framed me for masturbating in the restroom. Something I did not do.
We're too busy watching what you're doing to hear what you're saying. They're demonic spirits that come to defile you in the night.
This woman, damn.
You're a winner, man. You're the real deal. You're picking up chicks.
Stripping down butt naked.
Oh, my bad. Melissa, bro, Justin, baby.
All you can see was cellulite hanging in pubic hair.
Chicken's dead.
He assaulted me with the chicken. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
If he were habitual homosexuals, then by all means, take a hike.
You gotta get in that hot and spit all that night. You keep that mess in your bedroom. So like I said, your porn days is over, sis. You're doing too much.
I thought I like women.
And we didn't have tornadoes here until we started putting into traffic circles.
Speed demons are a tyranny that's plaguing the streets of our city.
Because on the counter, you want to know why? When people go round and round in circles, it causes disturbance in the atmosphere and causes tornadoes.
Well, that makes sense. Have a good day.
We need more cops to stop those speed demons.
They're making laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. Pretty soon we're going to be communist country. I might not be in the mood to deal with white shenanigans that day. That's all I'm saying.
Surround yourself with smart, talented people.
Well, you ain't seen nothing, my friend, until you have a flame coming out of your butthole, and you need an asbestos diaper to be able to keep that flame from burning a hole in your pants.
My wife had my weed in her purse, and the mother took it. It was only like 4 grams, but it was really good weed.
You, man, you just an unlucky dude.
Don't hate on prostitution, because guess what? It's been going on since before humans, man. And you don't even know about it.
Now I'm gonna wrap it up.
I quit this bitch.
On a big station. Rock 1069.
Bye.
Beautiful women back in the kitchen.
Have a great Friday, you motherfucker.
Welcome to Friday morning here on the Stansbury Show. We're online for you. That at WRQK.com. Missed yesterday's program. That's where we hide the podcast. At WRQK.com. You'll need that website today to grab your $1,000 with me. Rock the bank. That very first $1,000 keyword does get passed out. 9 a.m. this morning, I will do that. And also, 9 a.m., we know it's Friday, so we will talk to our very good buddy, the one and only, the voice of high school football, Sam Berkeley, who is on the call tonight for Jackson and also tomorrow. Rivalry week. Yeah, it's here. Take a look at the handshake debacle last year, what they're going to do in response to it this year for those two teams.
Yeah, this is the story.
Sam presented by the Benders of Massillon. Keep them in mind tomorrow. Opening up early, 7 a.m. for the breakfast for you tomorrow. And they'll present Sammy today. We'll take a look ahead at both of those games, the Browns issues, everything else. Now, I'm playing Atomic Dog for you here. Now, don't worry. I also have this. I have this loaded up, too. I have that loaded up, too. But what I'm doing now is playing this the way I do the music for New Tour Tuesday. We believe, we being Tony and I, believe that we have tracked down the problem with this issue. That sometimes when I play stuff off this hotkey, it sounds great. And other times, not so much. We believe what's happening there is that there is a download, upload issue with the internet in this building. And we are trying to get that resolved, but because when I've been putting the pod together, sometimes when I'm playing stuff off the hotkey, it sounds great. And then I'll put the next hour of the pod together, I'll play something off the hotkey, I'm like, oh my God, that's what people are talking about right there. It sounds like it's coming off a Casio watch. And it was getting a little frustrating because people were like, dude, this sounds terrible. And I'd go back and I'm like, nah, dude, that sounds fine. Like, that sounds great. And then, but you listen to something else, like, oh, there it is. It's been like a little bit of an intermittent problem. So we'll see if we can't get that fixed. Because like on Tuesday, I was like, well, that's it. We're punting New Tour Tuesday. I was like, it's over. 20 years is done. Wrapping it up. Done. Right? I was like, oh, right. Maybe there might be another solution. We think that may be the problem there. But we will give you more Eye of the Tiger and Atomic Dog than you can handle today. That game underway tomorrow. Sam's on the call. Find Sam with me today, 9 a.m. Again, presented by the Benders of Massillon. They're opening up early tomorrow for breakfast. Find them at 7 a.m. to pregame that game. A lot to get into today outside of the rivalry, including Netflix is going to get 2 more murderers set free. I'm not sure this is a great idea here. I'm clearly talking about the Menendez brothers. We got a little bit of a, judge's decision yesterday. We'll read you that, figure out what that means. And I got to be honest with you here. I'll tip the hat. We're going to have this conversation at 8 o'clock. I think this is a giant mistake if both these guys get out. I think this is a giant mistake. I know. I literally just watched the documentary yesterday. It's what I spent my afternoon doing. I've seen the series Netflix did. I didn't think that was that good. It was okay. And if this was like your case, you were all in it, you'd probably, like it a little bit more than I did. Series was just all right. The documentary was a little bit more, I hate to say entertaining, but it was definitely more informative. There it is. It was definitely more informative. I don't believe that Lyle Menendez has any business getting out of jail. You can talk to me a little bit about Eric. Yes, they were both there. Yes, they're both guilty. Yes, you can talk to me a little bit about Eric. I think there's a different thing there. I think there's remorse in Eric. Lyle Menendez, I believe, just purely wanted to kill his parents in cold blood. I believe he just wanted the money. He just shot him, and that's why he dragged Eric along, and they went on shopping sprees after they killed their parents. I could be dead wrong. I'm a bystander. I was it happened in I think I was in 8th grade when this whole thing was going on. So, but watching that documentary, having read a little bit last night, I'm telling you, I don't let the Menendez brothers out. I understand that there was sexual abuse in their childhood. I get it. Nobody gets it more than me. I don't believe that is the sole deciding factor that made Lyle Menendez pick up a shotgun and shoot not just the person who sexually assaulted him, both of his parents. I don't believe it. I just don't. And I think we're getting into a dangerous territory with relitigating cases from our couches. I'm not sure that's a great thing that's happening. We'll talk about that. Spend 8 o'clock doing. Also, right around the corner, it's Halloween. You and I got to get into this every year. How old is too old to trick or treat? How young is too young to get him out there in the costumes? Nobody can seem to figure out the age thing with trick-or-treating. We will talk about that. Also, speaking of docuseries, apparently we're getting one over one of the trashiest pieces of entertainment that we all loved. We'll talk about that next.
The Stansberry Show.
Weird, lame, gross, dumb, freak, loser, perv, toothy.
On Rock 106.9.
Sit down, talk to Sam Perquin. He's on the call tomorrow, obviously. McKinley and Maslin, obviously on the call tonight. Hoover Jackson, too. 9 a.m. this morning, presented by the Benders of Maslin. Open it up early for you guys tomorrow, 7 a.m. for breakfast. Pre-game that rivalry. Check out Benders of Maslin. They'll be stopping by. Food drop today. Can't wait to see what they throw in the box. Looking forward to that. All of their outlets are great, man. The food's excellent in all 3 of those places. Don't sleep on those wings at the West End. Really good. We'll talk to Sammy in that. Pretty good Thursday night football game out of the NFL last night. I have to admit, I did fall asleep before the end of it there. I'm looking at this non-call on this face mask situation with Sam Darnold there a little bit. That's a missed call. If they didn't call that, that is a missed call. I don't really blame the ref. There's 4 quarters. There's a lot of stuff. They had plenty of time to try to get things done. That's a pretty egregious missed call if they didn't call that. Rams outlasting the Vikings there just a little bit. Sam, another one of those quarterbacks this year, kind of having a little bit of a resurgence after being left for dead. You can put Baker Mayfield on that list. Jared Goff, too, but he kind of has already had his, people have already seen that kind of come around over probably last year, maybe even the year before. With Jared there a little bit. Sam and Baker, though, they were, same draft. Right, the whole same thing, right? It was Sam's going to go 1, no, Baker will go 1, right? It was kind of that thing, and then they were both like, man, neither one of these guys look like they're going to be the thing. Found new situations, both had to knock around a little bit. Found fits that work for them, been working out pretty well. We were telling you at the start of the show that at 8 o'clock we're going to take a look at the Menendez brothers. It looks like they're going to get out of jail. I'm not necessarily wild about it. I have more sympathy for Eric than I do for Lyle. Lyle, if you ask me, is a cold-blooded killer who just wanted his parents' money. I could be dead wrong, but that's my view on that. But Netflix, man, their love of problematic figures, it knows no end. They got a new Zodiac show out that I'm probably going to consume over the weekend. I'll probably watch that. There's a new, I think it's a 3-episode series on the Zodiac. I'll probably watch that. You and I had a couple of conversations about the Vince McMahon documentary. That was on Netflix. Really good. Even if you're a non-wrestling fan. Like, it was good and entertaining. And I said, man, wrestling is such a behemoth in the broadcast industry that I'm always interested in the behind the scenes of what they're doing. I don't care about watching Raw, but like, hey, this is what happened. This is how it works. This, that. Yeah, show it to me. Because like I said, they're a behemoth in an industry in which I work. So I'm curious about it. Sure. Now Netflix says you are getting a docuseries on one of the most problematic television shows in the history of that box. You know the one I'm talking about. We're talking Jerry Springer. Jerry kind of birthed, a new generation of like even more tawdry television hosts. Oprah actually ran, and you can't use this word anymore, and it was all about transsexual. I mean, she was that person. It was Maury, she was Jerry. I mean, it was all the same stuff. And so now Netflix is going to give you a Jerry Springer 2-part documentary series. This is going to air January 7th. Luke Sewell directed this. He also directed some of you. I kind of need to watch that. I haven't seen that yet, but I do kind of want to watch that. This is how they're describing your Netflix Jerry Springer docuseries, the synopsis, if you will. This jaw-dropping premium 2-part series will tell the story of the Jerry Springer Show. It's never been told before. Packed with extraordinary first-hand testimony and revelations from show insiders, the series explores and how this daytime talk show became one of the biggest and most outrageous TV hits of the 90s. Behind the entertaining facade lay some dark truths, as we hear from the producers and ex-guests of the Jerry Springer Show. A murkier picture begins to emerge of the destruction it had caused, raising renewed questions about who was responsible and how far things should go in the name of entertainment. So I know somebody who had been a guest on the Jerry Springer Show. I also know somebody who was on, what was that court TV show in the middle of the day? I know my buddy Joe was on that too. Yes, you're handed talking. Yes, they fly into town, pay you a little money, put you up, this and that. They kind of take a story and go, okay, but that's, yeah, I get it. That's a decent story, but nobody watching TV is going to care. We're going to have to, get it here. Which brings up an interesting conversation. Misinformation. Does it matter if we're misrepresenting just people? Hey, these are their stories. This is reality. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's a caricature of reality. Is that a problem? Misinformation. It was passed off as real. Now, I think most people who could count to 20 probably looked and said, I'm being entertained here. There is clearly a producer backstage going, more ghetto. No, more trailer park. Give it to him. No, harder on the accent. Right. I mean, come on. We kind of know that. We kind of know. Yes, Jerry's the politician that was so smart that he paid a prostitute with a check, for crying out loud. With a check, for crying out loud. I'm sure they'll tell that story, and that's what made him the perfect guy to get into the dirt of your life, and he knew, and he had made his mistakes, and blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, here comes Maury with the, the envelopes. You are the dad, right? Then there's that. The Jerry Springer Show, do I have my facts here right? That show got so big that meathead idiot that was like the security guard, Steve, he got his own show, didn't he? Did Steve have his own? Mr. Clean had his own show, and it was like Jerry Springer Light, right? It was like, oh, wait, and if you wait 21 minutes, next thing you know, they're going to fight right there in the middle. Notice that? They fought every episode. Right. Right, it's because it was fabricated, the entire thing. Again, start with a little bit of truth and then exaggerate it. And you're thinking to yourself, those people would destroy their lives right now on TikTok for nothing.
The Stansberry Show.
I just thought you were
1069.
And this is where my messages get flooded, reminding me it's Canton's Rock Station. Welcome back to the Stansberry Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9. McKinley, Massillon facing off again tomorrow, 2 o'clock. That game on Rock 106.9. The voice of high school football, Sam Berkwin, joining me at 9 a.m. Presented by Benders and Massey. Opening up early for you guys tomorrow, 7 a.m. for breakfast. That actually sounds like a really good idea. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Talk to Sammy, 9 a.m. All right. I was told while growing up more than a few times that, Daniel, your laziness is going to cause you so much more frustration and money than it should. My parents ended up being right about that. Both of them. And yesterday, I was kind of put in one of those situations. I have my taxes prepared for me. And so the way that works, I don't know where you go or how you do it, or you do it yourself or Turbo or whatever the hell it is, but I have them done for me. I get paid like 3 or 4 different ways. It can get a little complicated, and it's like, I don't want to be making mistakes. And so I just have it done. And the way that works is they normally file the federal and state for me. And they're like, hey, this is your city. Make sure you mail this. And I did. And apparently it was more than one. And I've been bad about it. And I've been getting the letter of the mail. And finally I was like, take care of it. You know why I did it? Homeowner now. It's like, yeah, nah, man, they can take stuff now. So like, nah, right? So I can't even believe I'm going to do this, but I feel as if I have to. I really do. And I may be wasting some of your time, and I apologize. But I, very often, will get on my soapbox and give you my feelings about the government. They suck, out to steal, crooks, every last one of them. Douchebag, she sucks, he sucks, we're all doomed. Like, that's me. That for sure is my worldview. I am a pessimist. I can tell you, I dealt with a local government agency, the local tax agency, not once but twice this last week. I was in their office on Tuesday. That problem could have been resolved right then and there on Tuesday. Sure enough, your esteemed host showed up there like the dopey idiot he is, missing one of the documents he needed. Whoops! Strike up the band, I'll be back here Thursday. So sure enough, I go back in there Thursday. Yesterday, this is. Well, flight of steps, right in there. Sure enough, you're going to go in through that door, turn right, it's 2 cubicles down. You will be dealing with Rachel. Okay, thank you very much. And like I go in there, and I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. Right? Like, let's see. Because I was like, I felt like on Tuesday when I was in there, everybody was nice and pleasant and like willing to bend over backwards to try to help you. Well, maybe we can find it. Let me look. What's your social? Let me see if I can find this for you, Dan. Let me see. I was like, geez, who is helpful people since when? Like, I was shocked by it. And then yesterday I go back in there, and there was a little bit of a snafu, if you will. All my fault, nothing to do with them. Again, my own laziness, my own tomorrow, coming back to bite me in the ass. And so I go in there, I'm like, hey, I'm really stupid. And so and I'm also lazy, and I am here to take care of all of these problems. And I laid all these papers on her desk. And she just said, okay, well, relax, let's see what we can do here. And sure enough, a little bit of a late fee situation and all that stuff, but she took care of it easily for me. It wasn't like they weren't rude. There wasn't like 1,000 people and they're screaming about how nobody would help. I expected, honestly, you know what I expected? The DMV, BMV, whatever the hell they're called here, right? The Bureau of Motor Vehicles. That's what I expected, just bedlam in there. It wasn't. I was shocked by that because I figured, oh my God, tax department people and their money, and it's going to be screwed up, and I'm just going to be standing in a line of 3,000 of the unwashed, and they're just going to be screaming bloody murder. And so, but I was terrified that what I was going to be dealing with is having to come in here and be like, dude, let me tell you how right I've been about the government. Guys, I got to tell you, I thought I was right. Oh my God, so much worse. No. She took the best club out of my bag. I am about everything. Oh, the government sucks. She's out to screw you. I had to deal with a local government agency, not once but twice this week, and both of those people I dealt with in that office, absolutely aces, thumbs up on that. Cannot get a better review out of me on that one. Now, don't find yourself in trouble just to go meet Noah and Rachel. They're nice. I don't know if I'd find myself in tax trouble just to meet them. You know what this country can't figure out? Who's allowed to knock on your door and ask for a Snickers? Let's try to figure it out, you and I together. Next here on Rock 106.
The Stansbury Show.
I suppose we head for the bar.
On Rock 106.9.
On your socials at The Stansbury Show, and your text line 330-450-7625. Talk to Sammy, voice of high school football there, he and Jeff Shreve. Sam in studio with me at 9 a.m. That presented by the Benders of Maslin. Opening up tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Early for breakfast for you guys so you can pre-game the rivalry. Get Sammy in here at 9 a.m. You have to excuse me here as I'm looking for some text messages from Sam Brooklyn. Oh yeah, I got the lines on the game. Tonight, Hoover at Jackson, 7 o'clock. All right. One of the conversations that comes up on the show a lot, country a lot, and it's been happening since I was a kid, and I'm guessing much sooner than that. Earlier, is what I should say. Man, these kids are growing up fast. Man, they grow up fast. I saw a guy my age online the other day saying, man, these girls that are out there now, these young girls out there, dude, we didn't dress like this. I was like, I literally remember my dad saying that. It's like, yeah, I kind of feel like maybe we did, right? Now, some of the makeup and all of this stuff, and yeah, I will admit, like, I think it's just, I've hit that age now. I remember when I was with my ex once, and she was showing me some photos of a group of friends up. I said, what? It's like, I'm uncomfortable by this. She said, but I was like, every one of those girls in that photo looked 24. I was like, that's not, I was like, this is like, slow down, right? And I was like, I hit that age, right? You just got to get to that point. And where we want kids to grow up a little bit, or, oh, don't grow up so fast, we move that line all over Hell's Half Acre. So if you're a kid growing up, you could get confused on where it is you're supposed to be an adult and where you're not. Yes, there's the argument. 18, go fight for your country, can't buy a beer. That's always been strange. That's always been strange, where adulthood starts where it doesn't. I've said about driver's licenses. I don't believe that if the world was more convenient for you, that you would argue that a 16-year-old should be able to seatbelt themselves into a rocket and drive it down the freeway. You don't believe that's a good idea. We just need it to be done. Nobody thinks that's really good. Think about you at 16. Should you have had a car? No. Like, no, probably not. Some of you, yes. A lot of you, no. This time of year, where kids are kids and where they're starting to become adults, gets brought up with this secular holiday we know as Halloween. And so more and more lawmakers around the country are bringing up that secular point, meaning there are no, like, traditions baked into the religion of, like, this is when this happens and this is when it doesn't happen. They don't, right? It's not, that's not what this is. And I've always said to people, man, when you get a teenager is getting a little close, like, dude, really? Like, but would you rather have them trick-or-treating or doing some of the other awful things you were doing when you were starting to get those ages? Or maybe the awful things I was doing. Rebellion was a huge part of David and I. You know what I mean? You get raised the sons of ministers. PK will never do it. PK will never do it. PK will never do it. You wouldn't believe the stupid stuff I had to do to prove I was like, believe, right? So like and I got more kids on that street than I did where I lived prior. I don't live that far from where I lived before, but far enough to where it's a little bit different. Right? And my neighbors brought their kids out, and it was like the first time I met them. I was like, hey, you guys live two streets or two houses down. We did that whole thing. And then next thing I know, here come it looked like 15-year-old like girls. And there was a little bit of me like, are they going to be snobby? Are you going to be mean? Are you going to be mean girls? It happens a lot, and I would have to admit, I would probably have been guilty of this. All right, man, snack that 10-year-old's candy. Now, I just told you all the things I would have done to be cool. Okay? I wanted to be accepted. My parents were religious weirdos. Don't play with him! Jesus freak! Out in the street! Just singing Elton John to me every time I rode my bike anywhere. Awful. But like, when I saw stuff like that, and Halloween wasn't really a big part of my life until I was a teenager. We weren't allowed to do it as we're 7 years older than I was. So anytime I had anything and I was enjoying it, that was like the beacon, right? And so that's right about it. You're right. It's always such a weird territory because 364 days out of the year. And then we have this holiday that is all about children. And then we tell them, grow up. Isn't that weird? Now, maybe what we do is we compromise somewhere in the middle. I mean, what we do is we kind of find like, all right, dude, I don't know if it's at the community center or where it is, but like, let's create a group environment for kids to kind of come together, costume kind of do that thing, so they're not necessarily beaten. East Sparta got it right. I might have to move. 5:30 to 7 on the 31st is when East Sparta's doing that. That, to me, if you're a kid, right, you kind of want dusk to kind of settle in. You kind of want the darkness there a little bit. And apparently the country's still divided on off. I want to say 16 because I'm guessing you'd have an ID on it. Do we maybe need an ID system for 10 to 16-year-olds? Like, we might. I don't know, I'm not a parent. You guys, can figure that out amongst yourself. But we might. It's tough, right? Because people say, man, really the only reason not to let, like, teenagers who are getting a little older, go out for Halloween is, dude, they're going to beat up the 8-year-old and take the candy. Probably not. I don't think it's all of them, I think when people say that, it's like, oh, geez, kind of found out who you were, right? Now, one of two things there. Or you stole the candy or you had your candy jacked, right? Like, it's one of the, only two people are bringing that up. And I said, to go along, to get along, when I was a teenager, I probably would have, been in the back. I wouldn't have snatched the candy. But I would have I would have been in the back, like, I should stand up. I should be saying something, right? I should be the Norma Ray of this right now. And, I wouldn't have done. Because I just wanted to, I was a nerd, I wanted to be cool, right? So I just would have, I would have just been, 11 years old. I didn't go out for Halloween a whole lot. My parents, we weren't doing that. Now, Dwayne says, look, if you're a terrible teenager, let's say, right, you're going to go out, you're going to do the candy thing, but then you're going to go wreak havoc when you're done doing that. It's like, so, it feels like a little bit of a fool's errand kind of stopping there. It's like, I don't have a good reason not to give an older kid candy. It's like, just because of how they look, many are wearing masks and stuff anyway. Well, all right, but when we start talking 15, 16, I'm guessing it's about the size of the person, not necessarily whether or not they are masked. That was, honestly, if I can kvetch a little, that was one of my least favorite things about Halloween last year. The house I lived in before, it's fine. I don't even live there. On bikes, and the Halloween wasn't really part of it, and they weren't like Christmas decorators, and it just didn't feel like that. It just wasn't that. So when I moved into my place, it's a little bit more quiet and neighborhood, and kids ride bikes, and then the backyard playing stuff. So, oh, I like this, right? And so I expected, I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I was like, I'm going to give up my evil, I hate everybody, and I'm going to sit out on that porch, I'm going to pass out the candy. And I didn't get as many kids as I thought I would in that neighborhood, first and foremost. Now, I'll tell you, I think a lot of that is, I didn't see that many houses giving out candy. It was, you had to go 4 houses in between. I was like, geez, what's the matter with these
son of a bitch?
What's the matter with these people, right? So I didn't see a lot of that. And the kids I did get, some of them, more than enough of them, were not really in costumes. And that was a little bit of the older kid thing. Dude, I don't care. And I know you don't really care if I'm dressed as Batman. I just want stuff, right? It's like, okay.
The fuck is your problem, you fucking idiot?
I'm such a fat ass, I don't want to eat it. So yes, take it off my porch. John telling me, Stansbury, you can get an ID at 10. Temps permit at 15.5. Yeah, I remember getting my temps and that permit thing there. And I wasn't aware of the state ID thing at 10. I'm not necessarily shocked. I guess what I'm saying there, John, is not whether or not we should create it. Should it become a little bit more of a standard? Is what I'm saying there. Thanks for that info, though, because I don't think I would have known the state ID thing at 10 years old. Not a parent, just not really on my radar. Or grow up, stop being a little kid, right? And it said that we moved this line. And I brought up the driving. I said, I'm not sure that everything you just said makes no sense. It's not, but there is a little bit of a counter there. I don't really have a way to tell you you're wrong right now. I think we're both going to be a little wrong in the future, meaning I think transportation is going to be the next thing that really gets turned on its head, which has me nervous for a lot of reasons. Just this scary world looking around, the relationship with car dealers, right? Is another one that's in the back of the mind. I think transportation is going to be one of the next. I think we've already seen it. Kids in the range of driving age. Parents I know with those age kids, over the last 10, 15 years, it's been getting less and less and less that they're in.